My name is Olivia Taylor. I work for the Parks and Rec Department. With me is also Jackie Hoffman. She is also a program manager within the Rec Department. We want to welcome you to another one of our Totality Talks. This one today, we're featuring Dan McGlaun. Dan has observed and photographed 15 total eclipses, 3 annular eclipses from land, air, and sea. During the 2017 total eclipse, he started a website called eclipse2017.org, and now he's doing the same thing for 2024, which is how we became in contact with him. He also coordinates with all the leading eclipse experts worldwide in all areas on eclipse knowledge. So once we kind of dive into some of the stuff from him, he'll give you all more information about his background. If you guys could, in the meantime, in the chat, just maybe put your name, what city you're from, and honestly, why these chats interest you. Like he said, he kind of likes to know the background of the people that he's talking to. So I feel like that would be super helpful for him. A couple things before we get started, just housekeeping notes. Everyone will be muted. If you have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat while he's speaking. Jackie or myself will kind of be checking through that. Or obviously he'll leave time at the end. So with all that, I'm going to turn it over to Dan.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. And thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I always like to talk about eclipses. It's what I've been doing passionately for most of my adult life. And really excited to help you guys understand more about eclipses and maybe help you with preparations and that sort of thing. I do usually like to be in person, but that's just not possible with the number of communities. And the problem with this is that I can't see anybody, and I'm talking to my video, and I really hate that because I like the dynamic of the back and forth and everything, and I don't want to feel like I'm lecturing, but I do have a lot of eclipse stuff to share with you, both from my website. Like to show you the simulator. I'd like to show you a couple of things, but what I would like to start with, well, kind of start with, I'll be here in a second, but I am Dan McGlaun. Like Olivia said, I've seen 15 total eclipses. I do all my own math calculations. I don't rely on NASA's data or anybody else's data. I rely on the ephemeris that comes from Paris and Washington, D.C. But with that, I do all my own calculations. So I'm able to do a lot of things with my website that I can personalize, customize for each of these locations. And I really would like to know if people have seen a total eclipse, because if you have not seen one, you are just absolutely not going to believe it. People like me who normally would live, pretty mundane, regular lives, we chase eclipses around the world, total eclipses, because they are just the most amazing thing that you can ever see. So let me dive in. And Olivia and Jackie, feel absolutely free to raise hand or stop me or mute me or whatever it takes to get me to shut up. So if you've got something that you want to see. So I want to share my screen, and I want to make sure I have sound. And I don't want to share my whole screen. I just kind of want to play the PowerPoint. But okay. There we go. Perfectly. So I've got the opening act, the October 14th eclipse that happened last month, or I guess it's a month and a half ago now. And so that one's over. That was an annular eclipse. It wasn't really great weather in the Midwest. It was kind of a Western United States thing, but we are getting ready for the main event next April 8th, 4 months and 3 days from right now. So you can all read that and have fun with that. And I am, again, Dan McGlaun. I live in the path of totality. So Avon Lake is in the path, and Indianapolis is in the path. I live in a small town west of Indianapolis. Some people in Indiana know where it is. Nobody outside of Indiana knows where it is. So it's a small town west of Indianapolis. I've lived here 50 years in Indiana. You can tell by my accent, I'm sure. And I ran Eclipse 2017 very successfully leading up to that eclipse 6 years ago. Has it really been 6 years ago? Oh my gosh. But that's how we define our lives, right? From one eclipse to another. COVID took a lot of them away from us, but here we are at 2024 and ready to do our thing next April 8th. I have completely revamped my site. A lot of competition out there, a lot of people trying to bring eclipse knowledge, and I feel like I'm doing some unique things. A lot of people think so. I have not just the viewing information. I've got viewing blogs with interactive maps. I'll show you one of those in a second that will be meaningful for you. I've got community pages, 140,000 communities in my database, and every one of them has a web page to host a link to the plans that they're making, because it is that big of a deal. And there are thousands of communities who are preparing. The eclipse videos, I've got videos, what the eclipse is going to look like. I've got them on YouTube. I've got them, there's a museum in San Antonio that's got that video on a big screen on its eclipse display area, because they come from the simulator. And my eclipse simulator is, I will say it's a world-class tool. It was 2.5 years in the making. And I put my heart and soul and knowledge and ability and skill and blood, sweat, and tears into it. And it is accurate. It is featured in both the major astronomy magazines. It also is and was on NASA's website for the annular, and I'm sure they'll feature it again for the total. It really is realistic, and it's about as good as being there. Not quite, because nothing really is. The other thing I'll say is that every single thing on my site is available in English, French, and Spanish, which is important for the people who the path of totality goes over. As you can see, it goes over Eastern Canada and it goes over Mexico. There are plenty of people who benefit from that. And it's not Google translated. It's real human, professional, native speaking translator. So enough about me. I hope you'll check out the site. If you've got questions, I'm always interested to answer emails or to help anybody out with anything. But we got an eclipse. And I'm going to have to break out of my PowerPoint because I cannot do better than a video that I have that I play for everybody. And what I really want to make sure of is when I play this, I want you to make sure that you are hearing the sound on it, because it is absolutely amazing.
That was amazing.
You're not seeing it, so I'm going to share my screen and share this, and hopefully that will work. Technology, I do eclipse calculations, but sometimes technology is a little bit out there. Let's try this again, and please stop.
That was amazing.
Unbelievable.
Coco, what'd you think?
It was awesome.
It was awesome. Mommy, what'd you think?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, I can't even describe it. Here comes the sun back.
Yeah, don't look at it. So what happens is this is a group of about 1,000 people that's gathered in 2017 in Charleston, South Carolina. So what I want you to hear, I don't really like to talk over it, but the excitement, the noise level, the amazement as totality happens, and then it just kind of goes off the scale, and you just see people going nuts. And what I want to emphasize is this is a normal reaction to eclipses. It's not scripted. It's just what happens.
Look how dark it's getting.
Oh, did you hear that?
This is amazing.
Perfect. Here we go.
Keep looking.
Look at the right side of the sky, how it's darker than the left side. The shadow of the moon is coming through space, scraping across the earth, and it's darkening up the right side. And when the eclipse is over, you'll see that shadow's moved, and now it's on the left side. You're seeing the moon's shadow moving over the face of the earth. I think that's...
Oh my God! Go, go! Here comes the night! Watch, here comes!
People just absolutely love this, don't they? Okay, I'm going to stop it, but you get what I'm saying, right? This is not somebody's woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take you outside to look at something that you can't even tell what it is. This is something that is literally emotional, stirring, jaw-dropping, knee-buckling, life-changing. Even my cat is getting in on it. So I'm gonna have to put, sorry, Linus, you're gonna have to wait for the eclipse. But let me close this down and reshare my screen with the PowerPoint. I hope you agree that that's something that's worth playing, because I tell you, I don't know how many times I've seen that, and it is absolutely what an eclipse is all about. It's just the coolest thing ever. So that's the video. I have actually in my life seen eclipses all by myself in every one of these scenarios, with 1 million people, with 100,000 people. I did not get married during totality. However, I know a lot of couples that have, and there are some during this eclipse that are doing it. And there's even one community in Indiana that's sponsoring a barn mass group wedding, like a whole bunch of people getting married. So, you know, there you go. That's an interesting thing to do if you're of a mind to do it. But people universally are amazed by eclipses. They absolutely, I need like 2 more. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if it's total or partial or any, at least he's holding his glasses. That's what you're supposed to do. Not even in the path of totality, but these people are all having an amazing, amazing experience, even watching a partial eclipse. And they're not going to get any of that amazement that you just saw in the video, but it's still a wonderful event. And I just want to impress upon you, everybody takes part in this. It's for everybody. It's just got to be a party day, a big day for the state to stand still, and not just because of the traffic, because there's something really amazing to see if we just want to share it with our younger kids. I guarantee you, I know people who are in their 70s and they remember their first eclipse when they were 5, that their parents and grandparents were their best heroes on that day. And that's the kind of thing that we can share. We can make time capsules. We can have our young kids write down their memories and put them in a memory book. We can do all kinds of things to make sure that at the next eclipse we will be all set. This is also my favorite picture. This is so cute. And this kid was in North Canton, I believe. Yeah, I think so. So this is an Ohio connection. I hope Ethan is he's in high school by now, but I hope he's doing well. So I hope I've got some excitement built. I hope some of you will have some good questions, and we can keep going. Look at where Avon Lake is. See that blue line? Remember I talked about the moon coming through space in its orbit around the Earth, dragging its shadow behind it. And that shadow just every once in a while just happens to scrape across the Earth. And if you're in the path where it's going to scrape across, then there will come a time for you, as its shadow moves from west to east, that you will be in the path. And if you're on the center line, you're going to get more totality than people who are away from the center line. And at the edges, you'll technically get 0, but you'll still have an amazing experience. It's amazing for everybody. Everybody's unique, but you'll get the longest duration of totality if you're on the center line, just because that's how the geometry works out. So on my site, and I'm going to show you the simulator later, I have an animation, but I really want to show you this, and I hope the link works. This is you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to see it unless I stop my share and reshare this. Now I think you can see it, and what'll happen is this is your area, and this is the old one. This is an old one. I meant to surprise you. Let me fix this real quick and get out of this and play this and share this. Now you're going to see what I want you to see. This is the new version. Jackie, I put Avon Lake in it for you. We met earlier, and we lamented the fact that I had left all these communities out. Well, guess what? You're on the map now.
Yeah. Thanks.
I hope you appreciate that. But what this shows you is, everybody's getting a partial eclipse. It's kind of a cool thing, but there comes the shadow, and it's going to bring totality to communities as it passes from west to east. There you go. And you notice how long you're going to stay in the path. You're going to get it for a long time. If you look at someplace like Mount Vernon, where it just kind of comes and it's gone, that's because that shadow is oval shaped. And if you're there and it's passing by you, you're only going to be in the path or you're only in the shadow for just a short time. But you guys are in good shape. So now you can put this on your website. You can link to it and you can show everybody. But I wanted to show that because I was proud that I was able to actually get that done. My to-do list is so long and I just apologize up one side and down the other, but it's the best I can do. I'm only one person. Okay, so past eclipse experiences. It's always interesting for me to tell people how rare an eclipse is. Well, I've seen 15 and I know I'm old, but seriously, I know people who've seen 35. 36, I think, is the record. Yeah, you have to start young and be old and not miss any. But you can, if you want to travel, if you want to go to Antarctica 3 or 4 times in your life, you can see a lot of eclipses. They're not that rare. But if you stay put in one spot, these are the eclipses I was able to find that Avon Lake was part of. And I know I went back a ways, 528 BC, but you can see there was a lot of eclipses in that millennium. There's a lot of eclipses in that millennium, but then it kind of dried up. 1451, and the last one that you've had in your location was in 1806. And I did not look up whether Avon Lake even existed in 1806. I have a feeling there might have been a settlement near the lake, but that's a long time ago. And here it is. And look, you were right in the path of totality. How do we know? Nobody was there. Well, math. We can do all the calculations and we know exactly what happened. I missed it. But that's all the more reason to see the next one. This was the first time the corona was described and pictured in a picture. That was before photography and everything.
Can you share your screen that you're looking at now? I think we're still seeing the map with Avon Lake. You mentioned the corona. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought I was sharing my whole screen. I'm very sorry about that.
Okay.
So here are the list of eclipses that I found. And, feel free to take pictures of that or whatever. I'm really sorry about that. But 1806, that was the last time. And here is the path. And you can see Avon Lake was in pretty good shape. But it's over and it's not coming back. So we don't worry about 1806. There's the picture of the very first time the corona was put into art. And was you're seeing it now, right? Let me know that you're seeing it, please, somehow. Yay, yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, in 2017, I'm not sure I want to talk a lot about 2017. I put it in here, but United States had not seen an eclipse for a long time. Yeah, I'm not. I that slide shouldn't have been in here. I want to show you the next eclipse. That's going to happen. The next big eclipse in the United States, I mean big, 2044, there's a decent one. 2033, there's one in Alaska. But 2045, August 12th, 2045, look where this eclipse is going to go. It's not going to go over Ohio, but it is going to go over Orlando. I mean, the Mouse World eclipse. And so that's going to be kind of cool. And that is where I'm going to be. I've already got it planned. It'll be the day after I turn 82, but wheelchair or not, doesn't matter. I know where I'm going to be. And that's a very comforting thought for me. At least that's where I plan to be. This is the next time totality comes to Ohio. It's in 2099. And remember, I talked about making experiences with the young people. There are people alive today who can experience the eclipse next year who will be alive in 2099. And maybe sharing it with their grandkids. So I really make a big deal about this, about sharing the experience with your friends, your family, and passing along that excitement and that love of space. Get your kids to look up from their phones and look up to the sky, because if you do, they'll look up to you, right? I think that's just an amazing gift to give them. And if you notice, though, that picture's not really good enough to show you. Here's the eclipse, and look what happens. The 2099 eclipse misses Avon Lake. Now, it'll be a really, 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 really deep partial. It'll be a really cool thing to see, but it won't be total. What do you have to do to get a total eclipse around here? Well, you have to wait until the year 2444. And that is when the next time that Avon Lake is going to see totality. And that's a long time. I mean, that's what, 420 years. So you can see 1806, 2024, 2444. And then, of course, you're going to have another one in 2505 and 2866. But who's counting? That's a long time between eclipses. And that gives you an idea about how kind of rare they are in one spot. So see this one and enjoy this one. We've got a lot of people who've already seen eclipses or who saw 2017, and so they kind of know what's going on. We've got a whole lot of stuff on the internet so we can enjoy both eclipses. I just think that this is something that you just can't miss. So school being out and all that good stuff. Community planning, I had left a couple of slides in here just in case we had community planners. I'm not sure that we do, but I can tell you, you want to find a place to watch where you're not going to have to worry about traffic. You're not going to have to worry about, I think the planners have this all taken care of. Just make sure you're in a place that's either you don't have to worry about getting on the road. You're not on the roads blocking people, first responders that may have to do their jobs on eclipse day. And thank God they are, because that's just a hard thing to do. But, there are people who have to miss the eclipse because they're serving us, and that's amazing. Make sure that you're in a safe place, whether that's an official viewing area or your own house or the school. I mean, wherever you go to find it, this is what you want to do. You want to have a good time. And I will tell you that night, eclipse night, is the NCAA championship game, the basketball game, the Final Four. That the championship game is that night. So it's a fantastic weekend to have fun, to have an eclipse, to have a party, to have a lot of food, fellowship, fun, and buy a few T-shirts and things. It'll be kind of cool. So I've already shown you this, and so we don't care. Are there community planners here? Is this something that I should even worry about, or I left it in case?
I feel like we can kind of touch on a little bit of it.
Okay.
So we're hosting an event at the stadium. So we have that going on. We have overnight parking and camping options that are up for sale right now as well. We're selling merchandise. The website is AvonLakeSolarEclipse.com. There is merchandise available for sale there, from hats to beanies, blankets, kind of anything you would need for that day. And then when it comes to traffic and trash, and plans like that, safety services is working on all that stuff. I don't want to go into all the fine details of what they have planned, but there are meetings that we'll talk about at the end of the meeting. People can attend if they want to get more in depth of the safety services plans. But we do have events. We have food trucks and vendors will be at the high school stadium as well. So planning on trying to throw a big party there.
It's a great excuse for a party. Somebody's put in the chat that the Cleveland baseball team will be on opening day. And if they have a home game on that day, in 2017, there were no major league teams that had a game during totality, but there were 4 minor league teams that shifted their schedule and played a game during totality. Like they stopped, and instead of a rain delay, we had an eclipse delay. And that was an amazing experience. I had tickets to all 4 of those games. They're framed on my wall, but I didn't go to any of them. But I would suggest that if the Guardians are doing that sort of, that'll be pretty awesome. So I just happened to see that. Okay, how will they leave is a good question, because here's the path for 2017. And if you overlay the Google traffic, you can kind of see there were roads in Wyoming that don't see 200 cars a week, and they had 4-hour traffic jams. I only got home from Carbondale to Indy by driving 50 miles on back roads, like through the cornfields, the gravel roads, 400 south, that kind of thing. And that was the way I got home, and I didn't have any problem at all, but other people did. Parking lots. You guys have it really, really good. Not only are you on the center line, well, you're on the center line, location, location, location. More totality than any place else. I'll show that again. Why is that in there? I don't know. Because I didn't edit very well. Infrastructure, viewing locations, organization. Your city planners have their act together. There are a lot of places that are just starting like, well, we got 4 months. That's plenty of time. No, 4 years is not enough time to plan this thing. And so all the communities that have planned events and have thought about, food vendors and porta potties and that sort of thing, they're ahead of the curve. And I'm really happy to report that I feel like after talking to Olivia and Jackie that you guys are really doing a great job. So keep it up. Yeah, Centerline. Okay, there's a couple of things that people always want to ask about. Well, why don't people just go to Cleveland, or why don't they go to Toledo, or I mean, there's so many towns that are in totality. Well, I mean, they can, but a lot of people don't want to fight big city hassles, which there will be. In 2017, the largest city that was in the path was Nashville, Tennessee. And Nashville's a big town, but it had some traffic issues. And so now we've got Cleveland, we've got Indianapolis, we've got Dallas, we've got Rochester and Syracuse. I mean, these are big towns that are going to have some issues. So, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is I bet they have 500,000 people there for the eclipse. I'm not sure I want to fight that, although that would be cool. But and then the other thing, weather. So you'd be like, well, it's April, it's definitely going to be bad weather. Well, no, it's not definitely going to be bad weather. This is a map of April 8th, 2023, the April 8th that we just had. And I remember I've looked at April 8th every single day for since 2000. I've been planning for this eclipse. Like, what is it going to look like? What are the trends? And yeah, sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's perfect. It's absolutely gloriously, stupendously clear and perfect. Everybody's going to Texas because, Texas is going to have perfect weather. Texas was clouded out. This is the shadow right here. This is during the eclipse. And Texas, a lot of it was clouded out, unfortunately. But from, Paris, Texarkana, all the way up Little Rock, Cape Girardeau, Carbondale, all these places, and even into Maine, you could fight these clouds. These are just little cumulus clouds. It really was a perfect day, and I hope we didn't spoil it. Climate is what you expect, but weather is what you get. So we can't stop our lives just because something might happen. And I have been rained out once in my life. The eclipse in 2009 in China, I mean, it wasn't clouded out. It was, if you can imagine this big front, maybe about 200 miles north, and it was just covering the path. There was nowhere you could go. We thought about buses. We had a plane rented on standby to get us out. There was no place to go. Every place was cloudy. So I missed it, and I got rained on, and it got dark. And when I say dark, a normal eclipse gets dark. This got black, like nighttime, like lock yourself in a closet. It was black. And so the TV person was interviewing me. Well, this wasn't the experience you wanted, but it was still really cool. And we thought we were part of something great. And he's right. They did get the eclipse. It was an amazing experience. I flew 10,000 miles to get rained on, but I mean, that's just the way it is. The day writes its own story, and it's a wonderful story. I set out drinking glasses, and I caught rain that fell during totality, and I still have vials of eclipse rain. And to me, it doesn't make up for not seeing it, but it's still meaningful. And so the day will bring its own stories. It will bring your personal story and your personal experience that you can remember for the rest of your life. And I think that's a very, very strong thing that we are all in North America going to share on that day. So that is eye safety. We can talk about that if there's a question. Definitely we'll have a moment in the sun. And if you want to take a real quick screenshot or picture of some of the things, I have not shown you the simulator yet. I will work my way to that as we work through some questions. And I want to just make sure that you see there's the Eclipse simulator, my email address, and then there's all kinds of resources if you're a teacher or if you know someone, at a church or something that wants to put something on their website. I've got a lot of stuff, and there's no charge for any of it. It's all free. I do sell Eclipse glasses, but I really almost all the stuff I have is just it's completely free. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and dial up the simulator so that we can talk through that for a minute. But I want to kind of shut up and let somebody else talk for 5 minutes, and maybe we've got some good questions. But I'm not hearing anybody. Is anyone talking?
I don't see any questions.
No
I see
questions?
comments.
No.
Are you able to see the comments or no?
I have not opened. Nobody wants to talk about eclipses. If you don't, I'll talk more. So
Well,
I am not seeing even where I can look at this. It's great. What do you suggest for a backup plan if the weather is crap? So if the weather is crap at my house, I'm going to stay, because to me, seeing the eclipse from my house is so meaningful that that's the story I want to take to my grave with me, that I saw this eclipse from my, I haven't picked front yard or backyard yet. I don't know, but I do know that I want to see it with my family, and I want to see it at the place that I've called home for years and years and years. So if you don't want to do that, if you want to see it, you have a beautiful opportunity, because you can hop down 71 or over 80 or 90. I'm sorry, I don't know the roads perfectly well, but Toledo is in the path. The northwest side of Columbus is in the path. I-70 all the way. Oh my gosh, I-70 from Columbus all the way to Effingham, Illinois is in the path. So you literally can't go wrong if you see that the weather's going to be bad and you don't mind getting out of Dodge, and you can find some place to stay, because people's couches are on Airbnb for $1,000. But if you really want, or you can head east. You can head east to Rochester, Syracuse. Buffalo is perfectly in the path. Niagara Falls, all the way to what's the city? Oh, darn it. The city up in Plattsburgh, way up in northeastern New York. And I think Plattsburgh is Vermont. But you've got all kinds of places that you can go. But again, for me, home is where it's at. And so it's a personal decision, whatever you want to do. It's your day. The eclipse belongs to everybody. So do whatever you like.
we have another question. Can you see that?
Apologies if I
Go
missed
over
it.
your background.
What is my background? Okay, so yeah, just a little bit at the front end. I said, and Plattsburgh's in New York. Excuse me. I have seen 15 total eclipses all over the world. It's a passion that I developed. I saw one. My first one's in 1991. I got hooked. I said the same exact thing. Everybody, oh my God, I got to see, when is the next one? I got to see more of those. And it just became kind of a thing. So then I knew all about computers and websites. I have a math degree from Purdue, boiler up, by the way. And sorry, I know Ohio State fans. But I went to Purdue. I got a math degree. I learned to do eclipse calculations, and I learned to do them from one of the top people in the world, Jean Meus, who has a lot of publications and is a leading eclipse expert. And I learned to do that. I did it for my own personal self, but then I'm like, well, you know what? And then I became a technical project manager for 20 years. So knowing how to, read code, write code, how websites work, how eclipses work, how math works, and just being the general enthusiastic, bubbly dude that I am, I just kind of thought, well, let's see what this does. And it was apparently I had a unique idea, because 2017. My site got 10 million hits a day for 3 weeks before the eclipse. I crashed every server we could have imagined. And this time it's just as big. In fact, it's bigger, because now we've got people who know what they're doing. So I do all my own calculations, and I basically, you want to talk about how we calculate eclipses, or you want to talk about how cool they are? I mean, it's an easy choice, but that's kind of my background.
We have another question. Is there benefit to being by or on the lake during totality?
Well, that can be either good or bad. It depends on what the weather has been going up to it, because we all know the lake, I'm in Indianapolis and I'm far away from Lake Michigan, but lake effect snow affects southwestern Michigan. And I cannot even imagine what the big lakes that I can't even imagine Erie and Ontario, what they do. I know they bring tons of snow. So we're not hopefully talking about snow, but we could be talking about convection or the lack of it, either not causing clouds to dissipate or causing them to dissipate. I am not a weather expert. I know enough. I have a pilot's license, so I know enough to know don't go into clouds. And so Jay Anderson is the world's leading expert on that, and he has a website called eclipsophile.com. Eclipsophile, 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 lover of the eclipse. And he is the world's leading expert on eclipse weather. So he's got climatological things that go, but there will be forecasts a couple of weeks in advance, and they will be all over the news media. But then you look the night before and you kind of see what was going on. In China, we saw it was going to be, and we're like, where do we go? And we're like, oh, there's no place we can go. And there wasn't. Cambodia maybe, but that would have been hard to get a visa on 5 hours notice. So watch it very carefully, decide what you're going to do. If you feel like it's bad enough that you have to make an exit plan, then that's what you do. If you're like me and you're going to stay put no matter what, then you can do that too. You can do anything you want, but climate is what you expect. Weather is what you get.
Yeah. I can say we did have a talk with the Lorain County Task Force, and someone from the National Weather Service was there about a month ago, and they did say that Avon Lake specifically, because of how we jet out into the lake, that we have a better chance of less cloud cover, that it usually goes south of us. So fingers crossed. And for our event at the stadium, we are going to have a NASA live feed of the eclipse on the big jumbo screens. So if we can't see it in person, because of clouds, at least we'll be able to see the darkness and watch it happening live. So that's our
You
plan.
definitely will. And there's one other thing I am trying not to promise this because I'm not sure if I can get it done, but I am planning to have a set of live feeds from all over the path. And for the ones that are cloudy, I'm going to have the simulator power the live feed. So you'd be watching a simulation, but in case there's not a live feed and you want it from right there, that's one thing my simulator, I'm hoping, is I'm going to be able to get it done. With that, I'd actually like to go ahead and take the screen back and show the simulator so people will know what this thing that I'm talking about is. But do we have any more questions before I do that?
I do not see any.
Okay, well, that is fair and no problem at all. Biggest questions about weather, and I fully understand that. So my simulator, again, is featured everywhere. It is really cool, and it is really a complete combination of all my eclipse experience, all the math that I can do, and the technical project management that it took to bring the programmers together and get it done. And believe me, I have brilliant programmers. I cannot say enough for how amazing they are. Look at that. Look at that center line going right through it. I mean, how on earth could it be any better than that? You can zoom in to anywhere you want, your own backyard, anywhere, and it will grab the latitude and longitude that you select. So let's just pick a place here and open the simulator for that location. So it legal thing, and then it does a lot of math, does a bunch of database lookups. And now I can go ahead and put us on the lake if I want to. We're on the wrong side of the lake though, because you're not south. Oh well, it's not accurate, but artist license. So what you can see, and there's all kinds of instructions that you can read, and there's all kinds of things that you can teach or you can learn. Like, here's the moon, and it has not touched the sun just yet, but it's about to. And when it does, that first little bite is called first contact. And you have to, of course, be using your eclipse glasses. The red warning here, anytime the sun is visible, the bright part of it, you have to use your eclipse glasses. But it's really a good test for your eyes to see who the first person is who can say first contact. Yep, the astronomers were right. We're going to have an eclipse today. And it's truly amazing when it happens. It usually takes about 20 or 30 seconds before you can really see it. But it's really amazing when you start looking right at the time that it's supposed to happen and it happens. Of course, it has to because math. But again, there's something very satisfying about that I've always, it just every eclipse, it happens. I get amazed. So I don't know why. So as the eclipse progresses, what you're seeing, of course, the sun and the moon move from east to west and across the sky, but that's because the Earth is rotating. What you see during an eclipse is the moon actually moving in its orbit from right to left, from west to east, as it does its monthly orbit around the Earth. And that's a cool thing. You can't ever see that anywhere. So what you'll do is you'll have your eclipse glasses and you'll be like, well, let's see what's going on. And you'll see this, this looks like about a 40% eclipse here. And then 5 minutes later, let's look again. And now it's gone to 50%. So you're actually seeing that bite of the sun getting bigger, more Pac-Man like. And it's very, it's interesting. Then you start seeing it get a little dark. And you start seeing it get a little weird because as the sun shrinks, your shadow on the ground becomes very clear and distinct because the sun becomes a point source and you lose that fuzzy edge. If you don't believe your shadow, go out on the next sunny day and look at your shadow and look at the edge. And it's only about an inch or so, but it's really fuzzy on the edges. That completely goes away. And it looks like somebody's taken scissors and has cut a very distinct, hard outline in your shadow. And you think, well, who cares about it? It's really weird. It looks strange. And you've got the temperature dropping and you've got, little eclipses that are showing through the trees and you've got the sky darkening and there's just kind of a buzz and electricity in the air. And this is happening for, an hour and a half before Totality, which is the main show. So we are getting close to Totality here. And at the very end, the last 5 minutes, they're the coolest. The last 2 minutes are even cooler. The last 30 seconds are cool. Every part of it is cool. And it happens so fast that you almost can't get enough of the excitement. Your brain kind of overloads and it hasn't even happened yet. But here comes that shadow scraping across the Earth, about to hit Avon Lake. It's over for me, way over, but I'm having my my fun remembrances of the thing. But now here comes Venus out. You're going to see Venus for sure. The sun is still there. It's still too bright. You have to use your eclipse glasses because the bright part of the sun is still showing, but it's getting really weird looking, and it will do that, and it will even get darker. And I use the fine time slider here, and you can see now there goes the last bit of the sun is covered up. The diamond ring pops out, and then this orange glow on the horizon starts. It's 360 degrees, and it will be 360 because you are on the center line. So you'll see that sunset-like outline all around you, all around. And then the diamond ring fades away. The corona just bursts out. The sky is this weird otherworldly shade of purple, and the corona, it looks like somebody took cotton candy and just like smeared it across this black hole that somebody cut into the sky. It's just the weirdest thing you can ever imagine. And you see a picture of it and you see this and you see video and you go, well, okay, that's kind of cool, but why do people go nuts? Because it really is fundamentally shattering. It's really that weird to see nighttime happen during the day. It messes with you. And yes, I know, Linus, it messes with you. Okay. It's just really the coolest thing you can ever see. And then it lasts for, a few minutes. I don't happen to remember how long it is for you guys. I think it's like almost 4 minutes of Totality.
352.6.
352.6. Well, and who's counting? But those
right.
That 0.6, I have a theory about it. Nobody cares. It's like a basketball game. It lasts as long as it lasts. It's going to feel like 8 seconds. It's going to be over immediately. You're going to be like, where did that go? And the basketball game is because you know what time the game starts, but once you get into the gym, you're on scoreboard time. Things happen when the whistle blows. Things happen when the horn goes off. Things happen in eclipse when they happen, and you won't even care what time of day it is until it's over. And you're doing the same thing after a football game. You're looking what time it is to recalibrate your brain to the world, and that's kind of a weird thing. But then third contact, another diamond ring, and as soon as that diamond ring, as soon as that bright thing comes out, you can see we're very we're making you put it on a little bit early to just to be careful, but that's what happens, and then the rest of it is history, and it does its thing for the rest of the day, and nobody cares. And there's fourth contact when it completely ends, and I can tell you don't think I've ever seen a fourth contact, because it is just so underwhelming what's happening then after this, and it's just amazing. Real quick, let me zoom in and let me show you a couple of these effects that happen, because we model all of the effects. As totality hits, you're going to see that sliver get so small. There's the diamond ring coming out, there's the corona starting, and you'll notice that the sunlight is broken up into these beads. Wherever there's a bead, that's a valley on the edge of the moon that's allowing that last little bit of sunlight to streak through. And wherever there's no bead, that's a mountain that's blocking it. And yes, those are accurate because we know where all the mountains and valleys on the moon are. We've had the LRO has been in orbit around the moon for about 14 years, taking, 60 pictures a second. I mean, we have a lot of topographic data for the moon. And so we know exactly where those are, and we do all the math. We know exactly where you're located. We know where the moon is shifted towards, so we can ray trace a line of sight right exactly to the edge of the moon, and we can do those very, very accurately. And I think that's one of the reasons that NASA likes it, is because we're using its data. If I turn the brightness off, you can see there are little beads there that just fade away, and they happen quickly. That red is the chromosphere. That's the outer layer of the sun. If I run this in real time, the clock is now running in real time. This is how fast it happens. If you miss it, if it's over before you even know it. So those Bailey's beads are a very amazing effect, and they continue. This is a prominence. We don't know where they're going to be. We just randomly show them, although we won't know until we see them. And it's always a nice surprise if there's a prominence. That's a whole bunch of stuff sticking out from the edge of the sun, and you can see the moon moving against the edge. But here, oh, look at those beads. That is amazing. So there comes and there's 3 beads going to happen at once. So I did not know that, and I have not looked at that. I would recommend to everyone I don't know exactly where I put this, but if you have three huge beads appearing at once, you're going to have a very strange effect. You might have multiple diamond rings, and that's one thing that we didn't put into the simulator that I'm working on for the next eclipse. But that's pretty cool. See if you can see that with your eclipse glasses, of course, but see if that's going to happen. I got to play with it now and see how far around the area that we can go and still get that. That's a really cool, and I did not expect that, but I can tell you it's accurate. I've matched this up to so many videos, and it is dead on, right on accurate. So I have every confidence that you're going to see 3 beads right at once, but it happens very quickly. It's going to happen this quick. There they are. There they go. There they form, and there they merge. And then the eclipse is over. When's the next one? The next one is August 12th, 2026 in Iceland and in Spain, and a nice, beautiful mountain range. North coast of Spain, late afternoon eclipse will be wonderful. So anyway, that is my simulator, and I hope you like it. And it's the best thing out there to preview what the eclipse is going to look like. And there's nothing that's going to take the place of Eclipse Day, but I hope you'll give it a visit and take a peek. So any more questions? And by the way, that is exactly as much math as you think, and about 10 times more. It's a lot. It's a lot. And by a lot, I don't mean a little. I mean a lot. Because those beads are different for every single observer. If you go 5 miles, they'll be different slightly. If you go 50 miles, they'll be at a different spot on the moon, and they'll happen at different times. And because the moon's wobble looks different depending on if you're over here or if you're over here, and we have to calculate all that. And part of the gig. So.
Your cat is very popular, and we have one more question. Can you put the link up again for the simulator?
Yes, it is very simple. It is eclipsesimulator.solar will get you there. So eclipsesimulator.solar. And I got that domain because I wanted to make sure that this thing can live on for a long time. We have updates that we're going to do. But if you get to the website, there it is, Eclipse Simulator. And you can take a peek at it if you want. And then you can look at the videos. And I've got videos for a lot of places. And the video is just really simple. It's what am I doing? I'm going to go to the map because we've pulled the eclipse sequence. And if you're a teacher or if you have a museum, where's Ohio? I lost Ohio. Here I'm gonna I haven't made one for Avon. Let's go to Lorraine and we can see Lorraine's video. And they're on YouTube. They have titles and they have music, but we also have a version of them that is just the eclipse sequence. No music, no titles, no nothing. It's just the eclipse sequence. The cornfields are in Lorraine. What was I thinking? But this is it. It's only about 45 seconds long. It shows the eclipse sequence, and there's some more beads. See, they're kind of close to you, but let's see if they get 3 beads on the back end. I bet they don't. They get the 3 beads, but they're at different times. That's kind of cool. Anyway, that is videos, and there's 2,200 of them. And they're for a lot of places, and I do apologize that those take forever to make, and so I don't know if I'll be able to get to that. Anyway, any more questions? I can stay on as long as you guys will sit still and listen to me. But if there's any other questions, let's. See, in my world, we can make it move back and forth. We can't do that in the real world. And another great thing about this is I learned how to say Wapakoneta correctly. Oh, and Conneaut. I can say Conneaut correctly as well. All right, well, it sounds like we may not have any more stuff. Let's see. Eclipsesimulator.solar. Love your cat. Linus is the most adorable, loving cat you've ever met. He demands belly rubs. He's just all my cats are beautiful, and he's wonderful. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for having me, and I hope that we've shown you some excitement. I hope this has been worthwhile. A nice totality talk. NASA has their sunspots, and you guys have totality talks. Yeah. And I do appreciate it, and you're all very welcome. And I am completely open to any emails or questions that you might have. You can funnel them through Jackie, or you can email directly, dan@eclipse2024.org.
Great.
All right, stopping the share, and we will. If nothing else, I'll wish you guys a good evening, and I'm sure somebody wants to eat.
Must be dinner time.
Yeah, right.
No,
yeah,
it's always dinner time. I have enough cats. It's always dinner time. my life literally is feed the cats, clean the litter boxes, and talk about eclipses. That's not a bad life, but it's
So first of all, we want to say thank you, Dan, for joining us today and giving everyone all this helpful information. I know this is Jackie and I's technically third time listening to you talk, but I just feel like every time I learn something new and just get more and more excited. This is our first go around at planning an eclipse as well as seeing one. So I think it just helps to be around people who have done it before to help generate excitement, because we don't know what we don't know. So
well, and you got to get ready for 2444, right?
We've been waiting. We talked about it.
I don't think the hotels have opened up their reservation systems just yet, but we can ask.
Yeah, right. So I know I got a couple messages from people asking about safety service plans and things like that within the community specifically. There was one, I believe, last week, but there is one coming up January 24th at 7 p.m. at the Avon Lake Public Library. It will be another one that'll kind of go more in depth about the city's plans between the watch party event, like we talked about, parking, traffic flow, safety plans, kind of questions like that. I know police and fire were available at the last one we had. Hopefully they would be at that one as well to kind of go more in depth on their plans, and we'll be available to talk about more of the fun stuff like the watch party event and things that are coming around that. Jackie, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that
No?
covers it. Thank you, Dan. And if folks want to go to our website, AvonLakeSolarEclipse.com, we're going to keep updating as we learn and as we have these talks. We did record this, so if all went well, we will be able to share it on that site too.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me. I wish you guys a great eclipse and clear skies to you.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. Keep in touch. Let me know if I can help, and anybody can contact. So, Marie O'Neill has raised her hand.
Oh, she said thanks for this.
You're welcome, Marie. It's my purpose for being on Earth. I know that it is, and when you find it, it's truly a blessing. And I have been blessed. So. Thank you.
And I did the 2017 one, and I got such a kick out of it. I was the only one in my apartment complex with glasses, so everybody had to come running over. So
they're in demand. The prices are going to go crazy. I will not raise prices. I have enough of them that I can be better. Just
how do we order them from you?
That. Well, you go ahead and talk to Jackie, and I think they've got some, but on my site as well, I've got a big link on every page, order, just go to eclipse2024.org. And Jackie, I hope I'm not out of place making it a commercial.
No. If you're in,
that's the only, that is the only thing I do to make money off of this. And if you can imagine how much I've spent, I have to pay the mortgage because my cats have to have a place to live. So
I'm a cat person too. So yeah,
we
can support that.
I am the guy running back into the burning house to save the cats. I would
definitely.
I would not. I'm gonna have nightmares. No. Okay. Thank you guys very much.
I have a question for Jackie though. Also, are there any plans for something at Miller Park? Because I live in a building across the street from there, and I was just curious.
Right. We are going to have overnight parking at Miller Park, but the park in general will be open for viewing if you'd like to just go across the street if that's easier. And if you,
I figure I'm okay. I can just look outside. I live in the Beach Park Tower building, I figure I should be fine right there rather than going out in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
But
true. And if you want to get glasses in town, we have them at City Hall for sale. So
they're still there then. Okay. Yes. I was curious about that. Okay. Yeah. I tried ordering them from Amazon and they never got here. They got lifted somewhere along the line.
And also I hate to say it, but be careful about counterfeits. If you get them from a reputable, like your town, they're going to be okay. And like, I know.
Isn't there a certain kind that you need to be the correct ones?
Yeah, what you need to do is make sure that you trust who you're getting them from, not Chinese, not knockoffs and counterfeits. The American Astronomical Society has a list of approved manufacturers, approved vendors. If you get them from your community, Avon Lake, you will be fine. If they happen to run out, I know both of the manufacturers, United States, personally. I only use theirs, and that's all I sell. And I sell them very, very cheap. Not China.
I really
cheap.
don't want to be the only person with them again.
No, well, you know what? Send me your address, and we'll work something out. I'll sell you 100 of them real cheap.
Yeah. Well, the building I'm in has 150 apartments, so that could work.
150. I don't mean to
There we go.
take business away from your community, though. Check with Jackie and Olivia first. But
Okay.
eclipse2024.org. I'm happy to help you. I should have them even up to Eclipse Day, probably selling them in my front yard.
No,
So
I don't wait that long for things, but thank you.
please don't, because people will be clamoring just like 2017. People will be getting $20 a piece for them. That is just absolute disaster.
Right.
So, yeah, don't do that. Please don't.
No. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun. Yes.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
It's a blast for me too. I really appreciate it. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Clear
Jackie.
skies.
Thank you.